And why did you decide to play Melffy?
Hello everyone, Dale here from Team Moonax, and yesterday I played Melffy at a regional. I decided to do it because I made a post on Zodiac saying, I wasn't really sure what to play and the format's kind of poo-poo right now. So I made a post on Zodiac saying, hey, for 100 likes I'll play Melffy, and I got it, so here we are. Didn't do too bad. I ended up 4-3-1, which isn't a great record, but for Melffy isn't too bad. Honestly, going into round 6 I was 4-1-1 and I was like feeling pretty good about myself. I made a stupid misplay against Voiceless and lost to like there's only 2 cards in the game. He had to have both of them for me to lose, and he had both of them. It is what it is. And then the final round I played versus Tenpai, and I lost to Floodgates twice because, yeah, I mean, I lost to Floodgates and to kill me twice, which, whatever. That's just what Tenpai does. Deck's annoying, but, you know. We basically just played 2 non-games because my opponent just had multiple Sangan summonings and, like, shifter mulch on me, and then he just flipped Ravelry on me, and I couldn't play Yugioh, so. But deck overall performed pretty well. I had a lot of fun with it. I feel like the deck was a lot better than, like, I think people would give it credit for. It is a very teched out list though, a lot of weird options, but it was solid. It performed well. There's some changes I would make after playing it because I didn't play test it enough as like the list I'm playing, but it felt okay. So to start off with, we'll go for our Melffy engine. We're playing 3 Melffy Wallies, 2 Melffy Caddies, 2 Melffy Puppies. So this is the main portion of the deck that you're trying to get to. You're using Melffy Forest to search for Melffy Wally, because Melffy Wally plus Melffy Forest is 3 interruptions by itself, so it's actually really strong, and it gets you a lot of hand advantage. So we were playing those. I felt like I couldn't play like a huge Melffy engine, because like drawing multiples of like Puppy and Caddy feels bad, because there's not really much to do with them, but it was fine. My tuners, I played 1 Penny, 1 Hoppier Squadron. So these are how you make your synchros and how you get advantage off the Melffy engine. One nice thing is if you already open Wally, you can just search Penny with Melffy the Forest, or you can search Puppy or Caddy just to like protect your engine if you don't have like your other cards. And it gives you 1 extra free interrupt. So even if you draw Wally, still making Forest is important because it gets you to more pieces of your engine. And the last beast I played for the deck was Talentosa. This is summon off Puppy and pop a card, and it's just a free body to get on board. You can also use Farrajeet to special summon to get a pop. Pretty strong, honestly. This basically how a combo works with this, with just like all Melffy cards, is you use Melffy the Forest, search Wally on your end phase. You summon Wally. Wally effect, it bounces itself back to hand to summon Puppy and Caddy from the deck. And then then Forest usually will negate their normal summon that like triggered the Wally, so then they have to commit more to the board, and because it can't attack either. And then once it commits to the board, you go trigger, which puts this back in hand and this back in hand, and then you summon the Talentosa to pop a card. And then if you don't have Hoppier or Penny, you grab whichever one you don't have. Or normally I would just grab Penny to leave the Talentosa on board to use like Master Rain or something. So then we would go Penny, we would Synchro, and then we have our Synchro or Synchros are either Merry Melffys or Herald the Arclight. This is an Omni Negate, so if you pop their other monster, normally you'll make this, and then you just say, okay, now I have a negate to your board, because then they just have like a dead body sitting there. And then Merry Melffys is a bounce. And the nice thing about this is this can be used anytime, not just the main phase. So I had people go battle phase, and I would just Penny effect and then bounce their card anyways. And yeah, that was the primary purpose of the engine, was just to generate a lot of advantage and just to chew a lot of like bodies, along with 3 interruptions for Wally. And I said 3 interrupts, and they're good ones for the most part. Arclight's also like a pseudo Floodgate in some matchups. It doesn't really come up because it's so weak and it's easy to run over, but it is still like a decent Floodgate. After that, we played Trap Brigade. So the beasts are searchable with the Melffy cards. You can also summon them off Gigantic, which is pretty strong, and you play so many beast cards in the deck that it's really nice to have them. They can also pitch extra Melffys out of your hand to extend and push through boards. This is how I was killing people most of the time, with the Trap Brigades. After that, we played 3 Nimble Beaver, 1 Nimble Mundra, and 1 Nimble Angler. The reason I play Mamundra in here is because if you use Trap Brigades, you can shuffle the 1 Angler back. I played 47, so the odds of me drawing Angler wasn't super high. It did happen sometimes, and it was really annoying, but it wasn't that bad. It didn't really lose me any games per se, I don't think. It might have been 1, but like that game was like cursed to begin with, I believe. I don't think if I had Angler, I would have won the game. If I had like a different card instead of Angler, I would have been fine. So it didn't matter that I played Mamundra instead. Also, Mamundra being a beast means it helps you actually combo properly with Chaos. You can pitch it for Chaos and then go into your Sprite Sprint to start doing your Nimble plays. From there, I played Sprites in this. You just kind of have to. They just mesh too well with the deck. They're a really strong engine. They help protect your Melffys from actually resolving while also helping you get into Melffys. So this is pretty like standard for a Sprite package. I didn't play Gamma Burst like I normally do, and I didn't main deck Double Cross. Although Double Cross is pretty good in this deck because you can almost always get into a rank 2 even with just the Melffy cards. So that was fine. But yeah, I felt like this was like the perfect amount of sprites. I needed to play like a good amount of hand traps because my ability to go second is pretty lackluster. I'm pretty much relying on the Tri and the sprite cards, so the Melffy cards don't do anything going second. I mean, like, they're really nice if you trade the board down, you special summon a Wally, and you go, okay, you're playing the Melffy game now. You have to play against like 2 interrupts off my Melffys, and that would work out a lot. And then last spell I played in the deck was Melffy Head and Seat. This card's really important for this deck because after you burn through Hopier and Talentosa, the Melffy cards don't actually do that much. They're just like generating bodies, right? So the idea behind this is you can search this on your second Melffy of the Forest if you don't have lethal, and then you just go, okay, shuffle 3 back, and now you should play Melffy Wally again. So really solid there. And then basically the rest is just non-engine cards because you have to play a million in this format because this format sucks. 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Ogre, 3 Imperm. I felt like these were the strongest hand traps in the format that I could play. Droll's really good, but Droll, I can't use Droll on my opponent's turn because a lot of the times I'm using Melffy Wally to go into Caddy and Puppy, and Droll would just have felt lackluster. I think maybe siding it for second would have been fine, but I didn't have space. I was considering Mulchummy as my other side, but I didn't own Mulchummies. No one had extras because like everyone was trying to play that card, so I didn't play it, but I think that card could have been in the side deck too. But yeah, that was main deck, 47 cards. I actually don't think anything felt wrong here. Nib felt maybe a little lackluster. I mean, I could have maybe done without it. I never resolved it, I don't think. And I think I had it, or at least when I resolved it, it was never good enough by itself. So you need to have a second hand trap with it, which is fine, except for it's very conditional. So I feel like I could have just not played it, played 44 and had a better time, because like Nib was just like, I honestly lost the top decking and drawing Nib more than I actually did anything with it. So I don't know if the card's bad, but it just didn't feel good in my deck specifically. For the side deck, we're playing Triple DD Crow. Playing 1 Volcanic Shatter Shot because we want to burn for damage. This never came up. I only went to time once, and it was like we finished game 2 in time, so we didn't even have to go to a game 3. And that was my tie. Which I thought this deck would have a harder time killing, because that was my round 1. I was like, man, this is gonna be hard to kill, but I realized like there are just specific like lethal lines you can put up a lot of damage with, like the Tri cards plus Gigantic, so it wasn't too bad all day for that. There's maybe a couple times where I left people alive that was like problematic, but whatever. So rest is I think just spells and they're searchable traps. So 3 Cyclone, 3 Droplet, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Feather Duster. I just wanted board breakers. I actually think I could have played more and it might have been better. And then I played the 2 trap cards. I played Melffy Playhouse. I did side this in a couple times because I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Like my opponents are gonna be on Dark Rulers and Droplets. The only problem is like when you side it in, you rarely want to search it over a Melffy name, so it kind of felt weird. Not really sure I would keep this side. This could probably just be something else. In theory, it's cool and it's not that bad, but it just never really comes up for me. It never really came up for me, and like the only time I drew it or like actually had it was it caused me to brick because I had like 3 hand traps Playhouse in like a Melffy Wally, so it was one it was like really never coming. This was never like gonna be set up, and then the other thing was my Melffy Wally got ordered anyway, so I lost that game because I had 3 hand traps. So I stopped my opponent from playing, and then I top decked Double Cross right after. This card's really good in this deck. I honestly think you could almost consider main decking it. The reason it is because Melffy Wally or Melffy Caddy, either one, goes into an XYZ on your opponent's turn. So even if they stop you and you just pass on like a Wally, what ends up happening is you're able to just make a rank 2 using the Merry Melffys. But yeah, overall, everything felt fine. I don't think I would change my side too much. I would probably cut this, even maybe Scatter Shot, but like it's hard to like say that like without going to time. But I play really fast, so you should probably play Scatter Shot. But yeah, that was our main deck. I think you could maybe cut this for something else. I just don't know what that would be. Crow was really good. I wish I had drawn it more. I actually think maybe Bestials would have been better in this deck, but it is what it is. I think Fenrir could have taken the spot of some of the Melffy cards, to be honest. Or could have taken the spot of Fenrir and been fine. I didn't test enough, honestly, with this list beforehand to know for sure. But yeah, I think this will only change. Actually, I think everything else in this deck felt really good. I think my losses were unfortunate more than they were like the deck being problematic. And I also made like a misplay once to lose because I didn't carry on getting nibbed on my opponent's turn, because they didn't nib me on my turn. So yeah, deck everything felt okay. Finally, 2 Melffy of the Forest. This card's broken. You need to play 2 in this deck because you need 1 to search for your spell card in the follow-up. You need the spell card to recycle your engine because you are playing so many Melffys, you're just going to have some in your hand no matter what. You really need the second one just to get it there. 2 Gigantic. I think this needs a third. This is how you kill a lot of the time, and if you burn both of them, it does become a lot harder to actually like put lethal up. 1 Mosquito. The point of Mosquito is that it's a Zeus enabler because it can go battle phase without losing any materials or anything, and also need to get some of their cards. And then it also helps you lethal. I think I only killed twice with it today. One guy summoned a Bestial on me, and the other guy, I impermed. What did I imperm? Oh, I impermed their mask, and they just had Flambridge up, and I crowed the Promethean, and I just like punched into their Flambridge till they died. 1 Zeus. I mean, you just have to play Zeus. I think like this card, I don't think I ever made it though, to be honest, but in theory it's not bad. Oh no, I made it one time and I just kind of sat on it until I won the game with it, so it was fine. Sprint, maybe play a second one. The space is pretty tight in here. Our Beast links, because we played Try, I still wanted to play, I didn't want to play a million Beast links because I don't have that much extra deck space and they're not like that crazy, but I played like what I felt was the right amount of them, and actually I didn't really ever want more unless I was in like top deck mode, so honestly perfect. 1 Masquerena. We also played a Little Knight. I was borrowing it though. I sold mine off preemptively knowing that it was going to get announced in the tins. I didn't have one, but one of my friends who's like a pseudo vendor let me borrow it, so I was borrowing a Little Knight. Little Knight was okay. It came up a decent amount. It's just a good card, right? It wasn't like part of the core plays of the deck. Masquerena you don't go into very often because a lot of the times you're better off going for Melffy the Forest because it generates more interrupts. But Masquerena came up with an okay amount. Finally, through links, we played one of the Stare Call Light Hearts. The theory behind this was that I could use Keros. The theory was that I could go Keros, pitch an extra copy of a Melffy, and then banish the Melffy, make this link 2 to go into Sprint. Sprint effect would then go for Nimbles, and it would basically turn Keros into like both a starter extender play with like another Melffy card. So that was my logic behind it. I think I only did it like once, so it was kind of mid, but like I feel like honestly you could just match Keros in this list and it would have been fine. I don't think I ever saw Keros where I was upset because of how many Melffys you play. It actually never feels bad in this deck to just go Keros pitch and then able to do Sprite combo, like your Sprite combo and your Melffy combo from there. Finally, 1 Merry Melffys, 1 Heraldry Arclight. Like I said, these are just your base synchros you're going into like most games. I guess we can just show one of the combos currently. So let's get into that. We'll do the Keros combo because I just was talking about it. So I'll just show some of the combo lines. This deck actually does like some really good stuff. So let's say you open Keros. What do we want to do here? Let's do Keros Puppy because this is full combo. You could hold the Puppy, but it's only 1 interrupt. Whereas like if you do this and you have like any like other normal summons, you just break the board anyways. So your Keros effect, pitch the Puppy. Try your Keros effect to banish the Puppy. This brings out Lightheart, link 2. Turn that into Sprite Sprint, and then you're gonna activate Sprint effect. Everything's sort of, I should have skipped there. So we'll go Angler. Angler's gonna summon Ramondra and Beaver. You can overlay these to go into Gigantic. Gigantic effect, special summoning. Obviously, I got hand trapped a lot, so we weren't always able to do combos like this, but we got to them for a decent amount of the time. That's gonna summon Blue. Blue effect will activate. Blue will grab Jet. We'll special summon Jet. Jet effect to search. Jet will grab Starter. With the Starter, you can go for either Sprite or Carrot. Doesn't really matter. So then we'll activate Starter. Starter's gonna get us to either our Red or our Carrot, whichever one. So if you want to Spell Negate, you can have one. It's really hand trap dependent. I think Spell Negate for me, once I'm at this point, was always better. But a lot of the times, if you just open the Sprite engine, it made a lot more sense to go for Red, so you can play around Nib. So we bring out this overlay here. This gets us into our Melffy of the Forest effect. This will allow us to search for our Melffy Wally. And then we go special summon Melffy Wally, special summon Kara, and we can pass turn here. So now one of the weird things in this specific setup is that you're stuck with a gigantic on board that you can't, like, you're stuck with this gigantic, which you're just using for this negate and for the sprint, and you're like one body short of actually doing the combo, so you kind of have to hold your wally a little bit, which is one of the annoying things about like this specific like end board. But a lot of the times you get hand trapped, you won't get fully here, and even if you get fully here, you're like in an okay spot. And then you still have three cards in hand to play with this hand, which is nice. And then a lot of the times they're not going to fully track this, just if you think about it, this is a spell negate. Oh, sorry, you don't have both. Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't have both of these, so you have one or the other here. So you have your spell negate normally, and then when your opponent summons, you're able to go Melffy Wally back to hand, Melffy the Forest to negate their card. And then Melffy Wally summons Caddy and Puppy. And then because their card's negated, they usually have to play again, and then you're gonna be able to go. Normally, what ends up happening is they'll link, and then I'll go okay, special back to hand, return to hand, and then we get to summon out, like I said, the Talentosa here. This is gonna be a pop, and then we get to grab the Penny here, and the Penny's gonna let us synchro on our opponent's turn. So currently, we still have this live. We have a bounce. So if they stretch summon, you can go effect to bounce, and you can detach from the gigantic here, bounce one of their cards. And then you have the Talentosa also pop. So you had Talentosa pop, you have your quick synchro play. Alright, so I usually do Wally here, but yeah, you have a quick synchro play to make another negate if you want, or you have the bounce depending on like what deck they're playing. And then you still have whatever these negates are live. So in terms of actual interruptions, you get 3 from the Melffys, you get 1 from the Sprint, and you get 1 from the Carrot. So that's a 1 card, 5 interrupt combo, or like it's 1.5 card 5 interrupt combo from this deck. And like the nice thing is, you end your turn, you still have these in hand. So as long as on the follow up, you're able to go like Melffy the Forest effect to search for the continuous spell, which is pretty easy to do, honestly, all things considered. You go continuous spell, cycle back everything. So normally you're gonna go Penny and Penny plus the Talentosa. These are usually gonna get shuffled back because you're gonna link this off. And then on your opponent's turn, if you didn't kill them, which a lot of the times I just would, a lot of the times you're just able to go, okay, we'll just go on end phase, special, and then you have the same exact combo, except for usually use Mary Melffy's instead. So yeah, that is the primary game plan with this deck currently. Doing lines like that. So basically you're just trying to make Sprint, Gigantic, get into Melffy the Forest, so you have a negate backing it up. And yeah, that's like 90% of the game plan of this deck. And it works pretty well. It's a really hard board to break. And then honestly, like these cards give you such good grind game. Like if your opponent doesn't, if you get to like turn 3 and you have Melffy the spell continuous spell up, Melffy hide and seek, it is really hard to lose because like your opponent just has to like try to grind you down, and most decks just can't grind through getting constantly popped and bounced. So really nice in terms of like actual grinding with the deck, and that's really like the base combo you're going for. There are a lot of games where like I would just like draw like blue. This plus this is usually game, which is so weird. You go okay, normal summon, special summon, effects. This searches for Jet, and you kind of do that same line. This goes for red here because you need a spell negate, special summon, link into Melffy the Forest, and then you just do your combo from there. Yeah, that actually felt good pretty much all day. I have no complaints, honestly. It was really strong. There's a couple lines too where you want to put the mask up top. So like there was times where I'd go like mask up here with I would use Gigantic plus my Sprint plus my Angler. And then I would link these away, make a Tri-Brigade, and then set up from there. So yeah, a lot of really strong hands. This deck's pretty solid. It is very awkward to play with. You have a lot of strange interruptions to deal with, and it's very, very complicated overall, which is weird because you would think like the baby animal deck wouldn't be that hard. But there's a lot of weird lethal lines. I had like one game where, specifically to get game on the board, I had to Smashers away my Gigantic to clear his monster. And then I had to use the Gigantic. I had to like make sure I had enough materials underneath my. I had enough materials in graveyard, so I had to like do my combo, hold my Smashers, use Gigantic effect to special a Tri-Brigade, which was Kit specifically, and then I brought out double Dragon Lords, bounced his last card by sending one of my other cards by sending my Kit, and then I used special summon my Teros, and I was able to lethal him because I used the double Dragon Lords and then had the Teros to go into a second Gigantic. So the deck was really cool. In terms of matchups, so round one was Fiendsmith. We tied. Round 2 was Rika Trap Tricks. I 2-0'd. Round 3 was Snake Eye Fiendsmith. We tied. Round 5 was Tenpai. He made me go first. He couldn't break my board. He went first. I just hand trapped him and I just killed him. What was round 5? Round 5 was Runic Stun. He made a misplay. I lightning stormed him after he still drained me for, like in draw phase, and I was like, alright, whatever. And then I had lightning storm. I lightning stormed him, and then he activated the quick place, one of the runic spells to summon Pugin, and then tried to use its effect. And I was like, "You're under steel drain." He's like, "Oh," and then he just scooped. And that was game 2. Game 1, he just couldn't get through like my board, and I just like grinded him out. Round 6 was Whitewoods. Like the Toy Box, Whitewood, Centurion, like pile deck. That deck is terrifying. I didn't really know what everything did, so I was just kind of like trying to read and interact properly. I did waffle game 1, used my interactions incorrectly, because I didn't really know what the deck did. Or I think that might have been game 2, but I think I interrupted at the wrong. Oh no, I remember what I had. I had Nib in my hand, and I had like my combo on board, but I had burned almost all my interruptions, and I was trying to hold, but I had a like correct play I could have done. I got kind of greedy and I wanted to keep my Hoppier Squadron live. So I had this in my hand and I had a Palantosa on board, and I also had Penny. So like I was in an okay spot, like all things considered. And I was just like, okay, I want to hold the Hoppier Squadron, so I have it for next turn. So I don't think I can kill him because my hand was mostly Melffy cards, and I had no access to Sprite cards or Tri-Brigade. I was like purely playing Melffy, and he had hand trap me a lot, but I had it on a Wally on board. So what ended up happening was, I had this plus a Talentos out, and I could have quick synchroed Herald with the Arclight and then Nibiru'd him, but I didn't. I was like, I'll hold the Hoppier Squadron, and he had the cross out. It's like, okay, come on, now we could have played around that better. And that was like the most Nib did all day. Nib didn't feel that good. I didn't draw it enough, I don't think, either. So, but yeah, that happened. Unfortunate situations. And that I lost the game to that, but then I ended up taking game 3 because he opened up Toy Box, Toy Soldier, and like hand traps, and I think like a non-engine card, and then like a non-engine going first card, and I just kind of pushed his board through. I just ran over his whole board with like Sprite cards and everything, so he couldn't really do much. And then the non-engine like saw me from playing, but like I still ended on like Melffy cards, and he didn't have much because I cleared the Toy Box. Then we went to, and then now there's game 3 won that. And then round 7 I played versus Voiceless. That was the game where I had a full board. I did like that combo I just showed, and I ended on everything. And then what I was sitting on at the end of the combo was, I think after we had done everything, I had used Little Knight to banish his Fiendsmith Engraver. I had this live. I had Smasher set. Wherever it is. So I had this up. I had Smasher set. I had Hoppier in my hand to quick synchro, and I had Herald of Arclight on the board. And I had summoned 5 times to make. This was my 5th summon. So I had this. I think I had Sprint up top. I had Sprint up here, and then I had a Melffy of the Forest that I'd already used an effect on board. So I was like in an okay spot. My opponent only had 2 cards left in their hand, and then I had a Veiler up. So my opponent was in a good spot. I think my hand was something like this, and then like Melffy cards. So I was like, all right, we have a lot of interruptions still. My opponent summoned low. I decided I wanted to clear it off the board. I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I used Herald here to negate. So I was like, oh, this also turns on my Veiler. So if he has literally any follow-up, we just have Veiler. We have a monster negate, and we have a spell and trap negate. And then we have Smasher still to like clear any actual threats that come down. And now definitely I could have just Smasher the continuous spell. I'm not really sure what I was worried about. I was concerned he would just like have like 2 ways to push through. But to me also, like, it made the most sense to leave these on board pretty much. I maybe could have attributed this because I wanted to have a gigantic live, so I wanted to keep this up so I don't want to tear at this. And I wanted to have like the Smashers to clear like if he set anything scary. Because I didn't have good follow-up in my hand. I just had Melffys, and they're kind of mid without more cards to go with them. So I had something like this on board, and then he nibbed me. So with the nib, it turned off my Hoppier Squadron because I no longer had a. So yeah, I was in this situation. This was my board. Like, I should never lose here, right? With my opponent having 2 cards, he had the exact perfect 2 cards to beat me. Hoppier Squadron, Veiler, and he went Nibiru, which clears everything off the board. So I no longer have Smashers live, so I don't have a level 2. Hoppier Squadron's not live. I have a Veiler left. Unfortunately, the last card in his hand was the exact 1 card it could be to win the game, and it was Saphira, which searches for his ritual. He summons his ritual. He gets low up. He has a negate. My hand is like 2 Melffy cards, Hoppier Squadron, Veiler, And unfortunately, that is just not good enough to beat the low right now. And my top deck was like a nib because we were game 1 still. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then we grinded out a little bit. And then I drew another nib. And then I was like, all right, yep, you got it. I needed like a Trabadid or a Sprite to win the game. Because I didn't open any. I played just pure Melffy that game. And I think I think I opened a blue. But I didn't get any more on the follow-up, so I was just trying to play like this Melffy control game for a couple turns. Just didn't work out. I just couldn't get I was able to like get to Tatty, search Teros and stuff, but wasn't enough. Game 2 I went first, made the same board, did not get nibbed on my opponent's turn. I was able to win that. Game 3 I opened up my 6 cards were 6 of the same cards, and by that I mean my hand was Wally, Ash Blossom, Caddy, Jet. That is not enough going second when my opponent activates the Fiendsmith spell, and then normal summons low, and then does like the actual like full and then like has like the extension to do like full combo and voiceless. So yeah, we just couldn't win that. This was a really bad hand. This is probably the worst hand I drew all day, or this at least maybe the second worst one. So unfortunate there. Then I went final round into 10 Pi. Game 1 I got Shifter Chummied. I've still tried to play through it as well as I could, but obviously Melffy summon in the end phase giving them more draws, Sprite special summon giving them more draws, Trabadids normally special summon themselves for hand giving them more draws. So he ended up having, I think he hand trapped me 3 times after Shifter mulchumming me, and then still had 5 or 6 cards in his hand. I ended on like an OK board. I think I ended on Smashers Mask, and I didn't have any Melffy cards. So I ended on like just Smashers plus Master Arena, and I got clapped up because he activated Sandian. I cleared all his Sandians, and I had like a hand trap in hand. I think I had an Imperm set and a starter because I had like a Carrot and Idiot too. I cleared out 2 Sandians, and then I had Little Knight on board, and then I had like a Monster, and then I had the Imperm set. And I was like, okay, we should be okay. Like, we can clear basically to the last 2 monsters in this hand. If you go Sanguine Summoning, we Imperm. If you normal summons Pydro, we just banish Pydro and we're fine. And then, no, of course not. He didn't do that. He played the 3rd Sanguine. He activated Terraforming, played the 3rd Sanguine Summoning, and then normal summoned Pydro and killed me. So, yep. And then we go to game 2. I go first. I don't get Chummy shifted and I win. Crazy. And then we go into game 3 and he rivalries me with Seals Up and then just does the combo anyways. And there's like nothing I can do because I'm under rivalry and I normal summoned a Kit to start my plays. So like I had like a gas hand. In like most circumstances, I think I win those. Because I think my hand was like this. I didn't draw any hand traps, I think was the main issue. Or I think I top decked Imperm for turn. So I just really have anything to do. But my hand was like this. Last turn. Like my hand was crazy, right? And then I had Imperm, I think. So my hand was cooking like 99% of matchups there when I don't lose to the 1 of rivalry. So like it was this. And what I did was I went normal summon Kit. Or I went Imperm the Seals so I could like normal summon Kit, not get Seals, normal summon Kit. My opponent flipped rivalry, and now like these I can't play anymore. And then I went okay battle phase. I forced out the Seals because I was gonna have to. I guess it didn't really matter. He just used it. I was like, there's a chance he doesn't, so I just kind of do it. Because what else am I supposed to do? And then on end phase I go this. He had already used Seals, so he had brought back a bunch of his cards with the summon off of the Seals. I went okay pass turn. He went make the Synchro 10. And then went battle phase, activates Cyan, summon Chandra, and I can't activate artifacts anymore because that deck is fun and interactive. And then I lose. So, yeah, I didn't really get to play a game. I didn't really get to play a final round, to be honest. I played 1 game in the final round, and that game was actually interesting. But when Floodgates are so unfun to play against, I know people are like, well, you play Floodgate. No, I don't. This doesn't count. This isn't a gate. That just happens to be kind of a Floodgate in some matchups. It's so easy to out, though. I think Floodgates that are easy to out are mostly fine. Like, monster Floodgates with low stats are usually okay. Granted, like, the statues on decks are annoying, but yeah, deck was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with it. Kind of full report on how Melffy played out. I actually don't think this deck was that bad, all things considered. I think if you tweak this to definitely top. I was really close. I went into round 7 and 8, I went in around 7 with okay, I can still make top 8, we'll be fine. I went in around 7, I was like, okay, we can still make top 32, we'll be fine. And I lost both of them. So what can you do? Sometimes you either mess up or your opponent just draws better. That's Yugioh, it's part of the game. We had a lot of fun. I think the deck itself was actually fine. Honestly, it was pilot error for one of the losses, and the other losses was like, I don't think any deck won that matchup. Just my opponent had like 2 hand traps, floodgate seals. Like, okay, I mean, like, sometimes they're just better than you. So yeah, regardless, so this deck was a lot of fun. It's really cool. I think I actually like played the Fiends matchup, and I think if you don't brick and if you go first in this matchup, you win like every time. I don't think they can play through your board, even like with hand traps. As long as your hand's like passable, you can honestly get by with like a Melffy Wally and like one other interruption. Like a Melffy Wally plus a hand trap actually just like beats most of that deck. So, but yeah, that's it for now. I know it was a long video. I tried to explain everything. I had a lot of fun with Melffy. Deck performed relatively well, all things considered. I know 40th place out of 200 something isn't the most amazing, but it's pretty solid regardless, I think, for in a tier 0 format with a fun deck. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.